Okay, so since we were not able to do traditional jewelry making in class this semester, I just wanted to get you guys a little bit of information as far as the tools and procedures involved with traditional jewelry making, just so that if you decide to take advanced 3D, that you have that information for you when we might do jewelry making in advanced. So this tool right here is called a jeweler's saw, has a couple of parts. This is an adjustable arm, and there's a little nut here that can go make the arm go up and down, make it bigger or smaller. Okay, and then to once you get the height that you want, you tighten it here. Okay, there are two nuts here that move, and then what they do is they open these little spaces here, and this is where the saw blade goes. Okay, and then this is the actual saw blade. Okay, it's very, very, very fine, and it's so tiny that I don't even think you probably see the teeth or anything in it. So what I did is I drew a picture. This is what the saw actually looks like. Okay, so I'll do it this way. So the saw has a spot on the top that it has no blades, and this part on the bottom that has no blades. There's the back of the saw blade that is flat, has no teeth to it, and then the front has teeth. So when you're putting your saw blade in your jeweler's saw, you want to make sure you put it in like this, so that the flat part is facing toward the arm here, and the teeth are pointing up, and then they're also pointing toward the handle. So there should be like a little angle to them. They almost look like little Christmas trees. And you want to have the angle coming toward the handle. And the reason for that is when you go to saw, you want it to be sawing on the downstroke. So when you pull down, that's how it's going to be cutting. So the way we're going to put this in, I'm going to look at my saw blade. I'm going to try and find out what angle is correct. Okay, I got it. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to kind of measure, I'll go this way. I'm going to measure how big I need my arm to be. So this needs to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to be able to fit my saw blade right in there. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting it in the top here. I'm going to tighten this up. Now, the next part's a little tricky. What I need to do is I'm going to move my thing here. I need to put this saw blade under tension so it's nice and tight. And the way that you do that is you kind of rest it against the table and then you push on it with your body a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to push on this with my stomach a little bit. And what's happening is this part's going to go up a little bit. As it's going up a little bit, I'm going to fit my saw blade into this space between these two pieces of metal. And then I'm going to tighten it. Okay. So what that's going to do is, if you see, my saw blade is not, let me put this right here. My saw blade is nice and tight, and then it makes a little ping. That's how I know that it's nice and tight. So when I'm going to cut through my metal, you want to make sure that the saw blade stays nice and straight. If as you're cutting your metal, your saw blade starts to do this, so like this is, I'm cutting my metal, if my saw blade starts to bend like that, that means that my saw blade is not tight. And if it does that, then what's going to happen is, as I'm cutting through the metal, my saw blade is going to break, probably in two spots, and I'm going to break my saw blade. You want to make sure that when you're going through your metal, your saw blade is nice and straight and it's nice and tight, because then as you're cutting through your metal, it's not going to break. So it's making sure that it's the correct way, that the teeth are facing down toward the handle and also up. So as you're cutting forward, it's going to be cutting through the metal. And then making sure that it's nice and tight under tension, has that nice high-pitched ping when you like kind of strum on it, to so that it's, you know, that's nice and tight as you're going to cut through the metal. So that is kind of the major tool that we're going to be using that you would be using for jewelry making is this jeweler saw. And being able to put your saw blade in properly, have the blade facing in the right direction, have the teeth facing toward the handle, and having it under tension and nice and tight is going to ensure that when you cut through the metal that you're not going to break your blades every time.